My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey there, have you ever heard the advice, you got to get out there and mix and mingle and meet more people, get to know more folks. Your network is your net worth. Well, all of us have heard these kind of things, but today's special guest, Haydynn Fike, zooming in from beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee, has really kind of dialed this in. So Haydynn is an active real estate investor at the ripe old age of, I think, 23 years old. He's already got almost a couple of $1 million worth of real estate. And he's done a lot of this, if not all of this, through connecting. And he's got all sorts of ways that he connects with people. And I want to take a deep dive into that. So Haydynn, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you having me on, Dave.
My pleasure. All right, buddy. So first of all, 23, that's pretty young. I got kids around your age, my friend. And I want to take my hat off to you for accomplishing a lot in a short period of time. And my first question is really, how did you kind of connect the dots with the importance of being connected with getting ahead in real estate and in life in general?
Sure. I would say it really started out in my corporate career. So while I was finishing up college, I worked in corporate America at a large insurance company.
Mm.
And I started realizing that I could go up and just talk with the senior vice presidents. I could talk with the CEO while I was on the elevator. This is a 10,000 person company. And most people, when the CEO would be on the elevator, they try to take the other one because they were nervous. They didn't want to be around him. Whereas with me, I'm like, hold the elevator. Like I want to get on the elevator and spend some time with the CEO and ask him some questions. So I started.
So was this kind of your personality all the way through life, or did you just kind of have a spark at the
It's
insurance company? And what happened there?
Yeah, it's I'd say it's always been my personality.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I wasn't interested in playing video games or playing with the toys. I always wanted to be talking to the adults and asking what they did for work. And I would always tear apart things to try to figure out how it works. So I've always been interested in how things work. And as I started going through life, I started realizing that people are how things work.
Mm.
No matter what business you're in, whether it's insurance or whether it's the real estate game or any company, I don't care if you're building machines, like the people are what make it happen. And so I started realizing that from a young age. I went to my first networking event when I was a junior in college, and I was like hooked ever since. I went to this networking event and I met 5 business owners in one event.
Yeah.
And I had never met that many business owners at one time. And I was like, because I've always loved to meet the owners of places. I love to drive by and be like, I know the guy that owns that. I know the lady that owns that. I know the owner of this. And when I started networking, I realized that I could do that pretty quickly. And by helping the owners get what they needed, it helped me get to where I wanted to go.
Very, very cool. All right. So I'm sorry for that. I interrupted you because you
No
kind of
worries.
really dialed this in the insurance business. So you were in this big company and you weren't shy about mixing and mingling with the bigwigs.
Mhm.
How did that kind of morph into real estate and real estate investing for you?
Sure. So I got fired from that job.
Okay.
So
Did you say the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person? What happened,
that's
Hayden?
exactly right. I trusted the wrong person. I told them about a mistake that I had made in the past when where I scooped ice cream at a job before, and I got a call from HR. And in big corporate companies like that, they don't like liability. And
Hmm.
so I got cut. I had a job offer for $65,000 US. I know you're in Canada, so 65K US right out of
That's about
college.
500,000 Canadian, but yeah, maybe.
And $10,000 a year in raises. I was going to be traveling on the corporate jet, and I had this job opportunity, and that evaporated overnight. And so I had to think about, I took 2 weeks off and was like, what do I actually want to do?
Mhm.
Was going down this route because, I had this job offer. I thought this was going to be my path to build up the wealth that I wanted to. And I realized since I was a kid, I've always loved real estate. I've always just loved like watching house flipping shows. I would always look at the big houses out of the window like this is, as my parents were driving by. And in my networking events, this is another reason why I got into it. I started realizing the people that were wearing the nice Rolexes, the people that were comfortable, they were wearing the button-down Hawaiian shirts and the nice, comfortable khaki shorts during the day. And everyone else who was in suits seemed like they were always just working for somebody else. But the real estate guys were the ones that were comfortable and they didn't really seem like they needed to impress anybody. And so I started like taking a second look into real estate and thinking, man, this may be something I want to get into.
Very cool. So what did that look like for you? What are you doing real estate wise? What does investing look like for Haydn?
Sure. So I have a small portfolio. So I have two flip houses currently.
Mhm.
One is closing on the 9th. So just counting down the days until that one's finished up. That's in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. I have one here close to the Chattanooga area in Ringgold, Georgia. We're about a month out on finishing out that project. I own 74 units of self-storage, long-term rental property, and then I also house hack the house that I live in as well that I bought in 2022. And all of that was done through connections. I probably have about $10,000 of my personal capital in my real estate.
Very cool. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. What have you been doing to connect with people in the real estate world? Because I'm looking at the information that you sent me here. You've got, it looks like you've got a meetup group. Did you start that? You've got a podcast. You travel around, you mix, mingle, connect. Tell us what that looks like for you, Hayden.
Yeah, so I kind of started supercharging my networking and made it real estate and business specific.
Yeah.
I found that these general networking events, I was meeting some good people, but a lot of the people I was meeting were just salespeople, right?
Mhm.
So I created my own room basically because I was tired of being in the room and not being happy with the room. So I started Southeast Best Real Estate Meetup. This was modeled after Knoxville's Best Real Estate Meetup in Knoxville, Tennessee. I went and I saw what they were doing, and they were bringing in big speakers that have multiple $1 million of portfolios and experience in real estate. And they were bringing these guys in to come and speak for free. And I'm like, how are you doing this? And at that time, I wasn't in a mastermind group. So I didn't understand the power of being in a mastermind group. And so they were like, oh, they're just in our network. We just know these guys. We just talk to them every week on a Zoom call. And I was like, you talk to a guy that's like just syndicating a $10 million deal casually on a Zoom call every week, and they're like, yeah, we're in mastermind groups. So I joined the Action Academy mastermind, started networking in that group. And then I also just, as I grew in networking, I started traveling to Knoxville, Nashville, Atlanta. I would go up to 2 hours to any real estate meetup that I needed to go and hear these speakers, and I would introduce myself to them as the professional connector. And I had this dream of starting a meetup, and I finally did it. My coach threatened me I had to eat dog food if I didn't start my real estate meetup,
Oh,
and so
that's a
I
good
had to set the
that's a
date.
good motivator.
Yep. And so I set the date. And so now at our meetup, we have anywhere between 60 to 125 people each month that come
Wow.
out in Chattanooga. We have people that come from, there's someone that drove as far as from Florida. They drove 7 hours down and 7 hours back.
Wow.
But we have people from Knoxville, all over the Southeast region that come out to the meetup. And I fly people in regularly from all over. Last month's speaker was from Austin. This month's came from Atlanta, Georgia. And so just try to bring in the best quality people I can and create the best room for the best connections.
And so the room is real estate plus business or just really focused on real estate?
The meetup specifically is focused on real estate. So it
Okay.
is it is a real estate specific meetup. But as our speaker last night, his name is Mark Perlberg. He's a CPA.
Mhm.
He talked about how real estate is an avenue for people that own businesses to be able to reduce their tax liability in the US at least. I don't know about in Canada,
Not as
but
good, but yeah,
yeah.
we get the gist. Yeah.
Yeah, but here, it's so important. Even if you own a large cash flowing business, like one of my good friends, Phil, was there. He owns a very well cash flowing landscaping business, but real estate is his way to reduce his tax liability. So I love to have business owners come in that are curious about real estate investing because I think it's personally the best way that you can reduce your tax liability.
So would you say that that is your primary networking vehicle right now is your meetup group, or is that just one spoke of a multi-spoked wheel?
It's one spoke of a really big wheel.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, cool. What
so
else do you do?
I still travel to Nashville, Knoxville, Atlanta regularly for meetups, usually typically at least once a month,
Mhm.
to go and just continue to build networks in cities that are an hour to 2 hours away from me. So
Smart.
that way, if I ever need something in that city, I can pick up the phone and I have people I literally have boots on the ground in all of those cities that will go and look at a house within an hour for me. And so I'm trying to build that out and continue that as I build my own. And then the mastermind groups are huge. I'm in two masterminds currently, the Action Academy and then the Extraordinary Life Mastermind. And between those two groups, I mean, I have a network of people all across the world. I have people that are living in Tulum. I've got people that are in Colombia. And all of these people are business and real estate. So I love to not just network in real estate because it can kind of become an echo chamber. I love to hear about people that are starting up new businesses, buying businesses, and all that kind of stuff because it's really fascinating to me.
No, that is cool. So, all right. So you got your own meetup. You're part of a couple of different masterminds. You go attend all sorts of different meetups elsewhere. I think you've got your own Facebook group and podcast or something like that as well. So how does this all fit together?
Yes, so that's a great question. And that's something that I tried really hard to figure out in the beginning because I wanted to be the professional connector, right? And how do you make money on that? It's the question I always get asked. A lot of what I do is referral-based business. So I put together a CRM to be able to track everything. And so I have 36 different referral partners currently. And so if you came to me and said, Hayden, I need funding for a hotel, I've got a guy I can call and I get paid points off of his loan if it closes.
Mhm.
And I'm just continually building that up as I meet private lenders as well. There's a lot of private lenders that I meet that are like, hey, I need to get capital out. I'll pay you 500, $1,000 per loan you bring to me. And so a lot of what I do is kind of on the finance side, but I can do that for garage door company. There's all CPAs, all kinds of different people that I can refer out. And I try to keep it real estate specific and business specific just because I don't want to get too wide. And I'm still investing in my own personal real estate as well. So I use my connections to get off market leads as well to be able to acquire new assets.
Very, very cool. So what would you rate? It sounds like you've got this dialed in. It's kind of second nature for you. But for somebody who's a little bit more on the introverted side, what recommendations would you have for somebody on not just making those connections, but keeping those connections alive? Like, what do you do to touch base with people?
That's a wonderful question. And the person that I just interviewed on my last podcast, his name is David Olds. He runs the largest transaction coordinating company in the US. And he told me we were sitting there in this nice, beautiful studio in his office. And he's like, I am a very introverted person. And he comes to my real estate meetup and he'll just stand in the back. And he pointed out to me, I never really thought about it, how introverted David is.
Mhm.
I was like, that's your superpower, David. Because if you are introverted, you actually have an advantage compared to me. And I would say I'm 100, I'm an extrovert. I'll talk to the wall next to me when I'm laying at the pool. But David has an advantage because when he goes into his relationships, he's thinking through what he's going to say, right? When I'm talking to somebody, I just will talk and jibber jabber for like 20 minutes and then I'll come back and I'm like, what's that guy's name again? Whereas when you're introverted, you have a chance to actually genuinely get to know people. I would say target the smaller rooms. Go to places where you're going to feel more comfortable, but you're still putting yourself out there. Ask people for a one-on-one coffee, and the beautiful thing is we have social media. So you can go and just like your team reached out to me to interview, right? We've never met before. You're on the other side of the world
Mhm.
almost, and but we're here together. And so I think as an introvert, the number one recommendation I have would be to utilize social media because you don't have to show your face, and I would send out messages to people and just ask, hey, could we get on a quick call? I see your content and I love it. I would love to ask you a question about how you bought your storage facility at 23 years old. Or I would love to talk with you about how you're building a resort in the Dominican Republic. And I would love to do that one day. And 9.9 times out of 10, people are going to respond to you because they want to share their story. And I think if you're introverted, that's kind of a better way to do it. And you can do that at scale, right? If it's one call a day or maybe even one call a week, think about that. You're meeting 52 new people in a year that you can basically build your web out of.
No, that makes good sense. How do you keep that web connected? So after you've made that initial connection, especially at your stage, because it sounds like there's hundreds, if not thousands of people in that network, what do you do to keep it all straight and kind of keep top of mind?
That's a great question. And what I recommend is some form of tracking system. I think anyone in business should have a CRM. If you are doing any type of selling or buying of anything, you should track who you're talking to and what you're talking to them about. Personally, I use Monday.com. It's a little expensive. It costs about $60 a month for the subscription that lets you do everything. But I track every conversation that I have, what I talk with people about. I track when people call me and I connect them to other people. And that doesn't come easy for me. I'm not a tracker guy. I actually hate it. My
Yeah.
CRM is like the heaviest part of my day. I don't enjoy doing it, but if I don't do it, I don't know what I've done for the day, you know? And so I mean, there's Asana, that's a free CRM that you can use. There's all kinds of free resources, but if you're getting started, I would just do something to track your phone calls and just take notes in an electronic log. So in 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, when you're trying to think of who that private lender was that you met in Knoxville 2 months ago, oh, yeah, it's that person. I took notes about it, and I remember us talking about their dog named Terry. I'm going to call them and ask how Terry is and see if they'll fund a deal for me.
There you go. Good advice. Haydynn, if people want to connect with you and find out more about the art of connecting, where should they go?
Yeah, so the best place to find me is on my Instagram. It's at Haydynn, Haydynn, it's spelled weird. Haydynn Connects. That's the best place to find me. I post videos every single day on there about my journey of real estate, house flipping, being a professional connector, and traveling around the world to do that. So that's the best place to go and find me.
Awesome. Thanks very much for your insights. This has been great.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, take care. See you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.